first thing someone wants to say if you are in dialogue about a game or about a player or play or whatever is go back to the kitchen. You know,
That's wild.
go
Like
back, go back.
it's 2023. That's wild.
It's wild. I've had that said to me on top of you on my page or you're commenting on my content. And if you make a comment and I comment back or say something back, and the first thing that, well, I don't talk football with women.
Girl, you've got it. Act like you know it. Girl, you've got it. And you might as well show it. Say, girl, you've got it. Act like you know it. Girl, you've got it. And you might as well show it. Girl, you've got it. Act like you know it. Girl, you've got it. And you might as well show it. Girl, you've got it.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy, the sports reporter without pay, coming at you with another installment of Breaking Barriers, shining light on women in sports. And I'm not going to do no long introduction. I'm just going to bring my next guest in. Y'all see the merch. Y'all see the gear. Miss Candi Waller, CWall herself. What's going on, lady?
Hey, what's up, Raylan? That merch is looking dope, my brother.
Yes. Fire. Look at it, fit me all night. My wife was like, your chest looking off. I was like, okay, watch out. Watch out. Repping the CWall. I'm going to have to cop me another. I like this too. I like the way it fit.
Okay, awesome. Very good. And thank you so much for the support. I really, really love it. I appreciate it so much.
Hey, and like I say, I'm definitely going to get some more. In fact, I'm going to drop the link on my page too. So y'all go cop that merch. So I didn't do a long introduction. So let's jump into that. Tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so it's like, all right, we do the long-winded version, the short version. Either way, I'm just gonna start talking. If that's all right with you.
This is all about you. This is
okay.
The you show.
Okay, so my name is Candi Waller. I am a native of Prince George's County, Maryland, born and raised. HBCU graduate from Hampton University. Also, graduate level degrees from the George Washington University and Columbia University as well. And I'm just a sports fan, just an advocate and student of competitive sports, and I just have a passion for it, and that's how I grew up. No, that's not what I went to school for at all. I took a trip to Super Bowl 51, the infamous New England Patriots versus Atlanta Falcons, when the Patriots came back and won the Super Bowl. Went to that Super Bowl in Houston, and during that entire week, I did it as like a just a true NFL fan. I was like, I'm going to the NFL experience. I was able to sit in on live broadcastings of Undisputed, First Take, Good Morning Football. And while I was sitting there on the set of Good Morning Football, I said, you know what? This is what I want to do. I want to be in the sports industry. I want to be able to talk about sports. I wanted to see more of myself as being not just a facilitator of the conversation, but an active contributor to the conversation on a daily basis. So I started CWall Sports and Entertainment on March the 6th. March the 6th will be my 6-year anniversary of the business, when I had my official, my state of Maryland certifications, organization, articles of organization, you name it. Everything came through on March the 6th. And here I am. I mean, covering everything from where I met you, Raylan, Super Bowl, Radio Row, Media Week. I'm on site with the Commanders, Wizards, and Mystics. That's where spend the bulk of my time. As an HBCU graduate, I do a lot with HBCU athletics as well. And then I also just cover youth sports, you name it. If anything is happening in the Washington metropolitan area and throughout the region from a sports perspective, CWall Sports and Entertainment is in the building. I built a partnership with the local cable television station, Bowie Television, based out of Bowie, Maryland, where I am on the board of directors as well, and produce 2 of my own shows. So one is all Washington Commanders. It's called Coaching from the Couch. So it's similar to yourself. That's how it started. Coaching from the couch. What do we do when we watch sports? We coaching from our couches. And so it just stuck, had a ring to it, and I kept it. So I have Coaching from the Couch, the Washington Commanders update, and then Coaching from the Couch, the weekly DMV sports update that has all things happening throughout the week. And that's on Bowie Television every single day now, every single day. Both of those shows, content going crazy. All I can't keep up. So that's, I think, the short version, but I think I captured everything. I hope.
I think you did. Like you sit here, you go, okay, I know I want to ask this. I want to ask this. Me. So okay, so what made you want to get into sports? You done told that story already.
Mm-hmm.
So who would you say in this journey, I would say has been, I guess I would use the word inspiration. Like who somebody maybe you looked up to or you looked at and said, okay, this person makes me believe I can do this as well.
That is an excellent question. So I might have some very different responses, right? It's a couple of different people, and I just want everybody to hear me out on this. I'm a huge Doris Burke fan. I'm a huge Doris Burke fan. Huge Doris Burke fan.
You don't have to quantify your answers.
Listen, that's the ultimate, like, GOAT from a play-by-play, just her admiration for basketball, sports overall, that I'm like, yo, she just gets it and can articulate it and just make you feel like you're a part of it. I know a lot of people might be shocked by this one, but it's Stephen A. Smith. Hey, listen. Steve, if you can get past his delivery, he actually knows what he's talking about. HBCU graduate. He's an HBCU graduate as well. But coming from an HBCU background and seeing how what he has done with his career is extremely inspirational, right? I mean, I know a lot of people can't stand him, but guess what? He knows what he's talking about.
But you know what?
Every day.
That's fake, though. It's fake because you were there like I was, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and
yeah.
I keep telling people, but there's some of the greats was there. Joe Montana, Jerome Bettis, players walking through there. When Stephen A. Smith moved at Super Bowl week, you knew it.
Yeah.
So like all that media hate is fake. People just want something to talk about. So we got Doris Burke, we got Stephen A.
Yeah, Stephen A. Smith. I also always talked about Scott Van Pelt, who's from Maryland, huge Terp fan, and all of those things. And it's just the way that he storytells and the way that he makes you feel. And I'm gonna go all the way back. And I didn't mention this. My motivation has always been, and I'm going to date myself on this one. I'm going to tell everybody my age right now, but it was the George Michael sports machine. I wanted to be the Black woman version of the George Michael sports machine. I wanted you to feel like after you watched my show or tuned into my content, you knew everything that was going on in sport. You knew everything. You knew the whole week. You just knew everything that happened. Remember, George Michael would do everything from golf to NASCAR to horse, the Kentucky Derby, horse racing. Of course, he did football and basketball and baseball and hockey, but he covered everything, and he made you feel like you were there. And huge George Michael fan, and that's what I always, when I was a little girl, I would say, I want to do that. How do I do that? And somewhere along the lines, the dream got lost. Who knows why? And then it came back. Your dreams never really die, right?
No, they always hit in there somewhere.
They always in there somewhere, and it came back. So that's like my list of people. Of course, now I can always mention, Josina Anderson, Kimberly Martin, and others. Donna Hopkins from just the legends of Washington Commanders media that covered the Commanders in their Super Bowl years and who's still covering them today, are just women that I'm like, you know what? I want to be a student. I want to be able to learn this. I want to be able to do this, and I can do it. I just need to, have that confidence, and keep reminding myself I can do it, because you can get discouraged very easily out here.
Talk about it, right? Like we
Yeah.
we we Darrell, who if you're watching this, you don't know, both of us know Darrell. Darrell works
Yeah.
close with Candy, right? He and I were talking about, the struggle where like people think this is easy and it's not.
It's not.
It's not. You got to have some fight in you, honestly. So
Yep.
again, in your sports journey, you talked about a lot of your inspirations, I guess is the word I would use.
Hmm.
But along this journey, I guess let's dial it in a little bit closer. Who would you
Hmm.
venture to say have been, I would use the word mentors to you, like that have helped you along this journey, maybe on a more personal level?
Definitely. So Donna Hopkins again, because she's, Washington Commanders media. Donna has helped me a lot, and Lake Lewis. Those two, they have helped me from the door. And Marvin Jack, those three have helped me. Like when I first walked into Commanders training camp, right, and did not know anybody, and was like, okay, where do I go? What do I do? And may he rest in peace, Rich Tandler, who was a staple in the Washington metropolitan area community from a sports perspective. He was with NBC Sports Washington. He was one of the first people that embraced me in Commanders media as well. I mean, everything from, where to go get some water, where the bathroom was, to while we're watching, wide receiver, cornerback drills. Don't sit there. Don't do that. The ball is gonna come right there. You gonna be on TV. The ball might hit your head. I mean,
For all the wrong reasons.
you be on TV for all the wrong reasons. Like those things, that they helped, and they still help me to navigate when my credibility is questioned. Um, when what I'm doing is questioned, when, well, how many followers do you have? Or this one, when it's just still that place of having to prove yourself and prove what you're watching, what you're doing, and you're doing it in good faith and with integrity. They still right now, if I need to, like, a pep talk, they're right there.
Okay, so I mean, you
And
opened the
of course my
door.
parents, right? Not in industry. My parents now, they gonna be they're my biggest cheerleaders. They right there. They don't know what's going on half the time, but they like, listen, you can do this. Get yourself together, go pray, or let's pray together, and you got this. So they actually remind me every single day that I can do this. So
That's amazing. People don't know how valuable that is, and
mhm,
anything you're trying to do in life, actually, to have that support system when you have a cheering section in your corner, it matters a whole lot.
yes.
That kind of dials it back to just the livelihood of parenting, where it's like you speak life over you. I mean, you
Yep.
don't tell your kids or your adult kids. You mean what they can and can't, or what they can't do, right?
Right.
So you kind of segued into the general idea of the concept of this whole series that we're doing, breaking barriers, women in sports, right? You
Mhm.
talked about having to prove yourself, proving that you know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about, you know what you're watching, right? That's anybody in sports
Right.
media. But the reality is, right, it's a
Yep.
little different for you. So let's kind of talk about that. Let's
Mhm.
talk about in your journey, right? Some of the difficulties that you may face because of your gender, being a woman in a very male dominated arena. Speak
Mhm.
to that a little bit.
For sure. I mean, the first thing someone wants to say, if you are in dialogue about a game or about a player or play or whatever, is go back to the kitchen. You know,
That's wild.
go
Like
back. Go back.
it's 2023. That's wild.
It's wild. I've had that said to me, on top of you on my page, or you're commenting on my content, and if you make a comment and I comment back or say something back, and the first thing that, well, I don't talk football with women. Well,
You-
geez, you just commented, you on my page. I don't understand that. So it's just like, where do we? And you're 2023, and we're still dealing with that, um which is unfortunate, right? I mean, people can say things about, even when it comes to even your physical appearance, it's wild, and it becomes I don't think anyone is tracking whether or not any of my male colleagues have gained or lost weight. I don't think anybody is tracking whether or not any of my male counterparts has his hair done today or looks like they got bags under their eyes. So it's like it's at a place where you just you it's almost like you can't have a bad day, right? Or you can't just not feel well. You got to always be on. So your hair, right? Your makeup, your this, your that, everything
The
has to
shoe
be
game, the
on the shoe
clothes.
game.
Hey, hold
Everything
on. But if we call a spade, right? You was on
Mhm.
fire out there in Arizona. Let's just go and call a
Thank
spade,
you.
right?
I appreciate that. Listen, because people kept stopping me, and I was like, "Well, wait, am I on fire? Is this good? Am I all right?"
Yeah,
Because I
yeah,
appreciate that
yeah.
seriously. And so, yeah, I don't think, or even if I take a picture in something, right? Like if I took a picture in something that I wore out in Phoenix, I guess I better not wear that until the fall. I guess I gotta, like, stagger it out a little bit. Men can probably wear the same thing every week, or maybe even within the same week, and nobody's gonna notice.
It all looked the same.
It all looks the same. But with women,
Jeans,
oh
blazer,
no,
collared shirt, we good.
every time. And it's just it's straight. I mean, and we all, one thing we all get in sports is folks can't wait to prove us wrong. Even if we were given an opinion, they can't wait for you to be wrong or just be, say something crazy. But with a woman, we are actually also, like I said, judged on our physical appearance all of the time. And it's difficult that you got to show up a certain way from a look perspective. Then you also have to know exactly what you're talking about. It's not about just being, like I said, the facilitator of the conversation, the piece in the middle that just makes sure the guys can get, they can cut the debate down, or we got to move on to the next topic, or to be an active contributor in the conversation is a very different thing than being the facilitator of the conversation.
And we're starting. I mean, it's kind of like a lot. Anytime there's an issue that needs to be addressed, right? You can see the progression. It's like we come in there, but we still got a long ways to go, because that's kind of the dynamic you really see on TV. It's
Yep.
two men talking, and the woman is there to be pretty and facilitate, right?
Yep.
But you guys have a voice as well. Like, you guys are very knowledgeable. You know what you're doing. Like I said, if you guys haven't watched, check out Coaching from the Couch, CWall doing her thing. So I guess what would be your message, right? How does CWall, how does Candi deal with those hurdles? How you deal with those barriers and having to work twice as hard, having to overly prove yourself, not being able to have a bad day? Speak to the stick to itiveness that you have to have, because that's just the way it is for you guys.
You have to have a relationship with God. I mean, I would encourage everyone to have a relationship with God, regardless. But that God has kept me for real, right? Like that's just not even. That's not even being cliche. That is just literally focusing on the purpose, writing in my prayer journal, making sure I'm praying, and then surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals. That's difficult because everybody. I mean, it's just it may not be who you think it is, right? um this industry is different. It just is. I was thinking earlier, I'm like, dang, I can't sit here and eat my cheese and crackers because the Commanders are announcing the day that they released Carson Wentz and Bobby McCain, and I'm like, well, I mean, I was just, not that it was an issue. It was just like, you just got to be on. Okay. And what am I going to post? What am I going to say? I'm going to track this. Okay. How does that affect what they're doing at Combine? They're down in, we already knew about Carson, but, I'm just giving you real life of what my day was like just today, right? Like, okay, all right. I don't think I was expecting Bobby McCain and knew it was a possibility, but wasn't even thinking about the safety position. But what does that mean in terms of how I look at Combine, what I'm going to do this week, this, that, and the third? And it's like, when you have like-minded people who can pray for you, they understand this crap is hard, right? And whatever you're doing, it's hard. It is difficult. And that can speak life from a perspective of, okay, you can take a break, but you got to be back at it. Okay. because we also know that humans thrive off of consistency. If you leave this thing too long, you're gonna get forgotten about,
Gotta
right?
stay current. Gotta
You
stay
gotta stay
relevant.
current.
Absolutely.
You have
Yeah.
to stay relevant. Um, and just reminding yourself of your why. Why did you start this in the first place? What were you doing in the first place? What was it that you said? And then actually thinking about your alternative. Okay, all right. Well, so you tired of it, you sick of it, but what would you be doing if you weren't doing this?
Doing it in a barbershop,
Exactly.
doing it at work, doing it at school.
Sitting on
Like,
Facebook all day long, going
do,
back and
do,
forth with people in groups.
right, exactly. I mean, because most of us who do this, who aspire to thrive in this industry, it's just in us.
Yeah.
It's just in us. So
Mhm.
doing it as a career move is just it's icing on the cake. It's really doing something you love. So what's next? What can we expect from CWall? You just said you got the combine coming up. Are you going to the symposium?
Yeah, you said something about the symposium, and you said that we should all go. And so
Yes,
that is
I
my
did.
that is my reminder. Like you did say,
Yes.
everybody needs to go to the symposium in April. So it's on my list. Am I going yet? I don't know, but it's on my list of I have to make the decision after I get back from combine.
Well, as soon as they put something out, I will send you the link,
Yes,
right?
please.
Because you gotta apply. But I mean, with what you have going on, it's not going. You'll get in. Like it's not a. You'll get in. All right. So what else you got coming up? The combine and what else?
And so it's still NBA season. I'll tell you, football we just won't let up.
You said that you cover the Wizards. Your
I
season is
cover
over.
the Wizards. It
Your
doesn't feel
season.
like it these days, but I do. I cover the Wizards with Sports Illustrated Fan Nation. So doing more on that site and then tracking the NBA from that perspective. Um, I got some, let's see, the Mystics cover the WNBA extensively as well. So it's just kind of I just flow with the sports, right? Like just whatever's going on. I am doing some with Boo Williams, those out of the Hampton Roads area, Boo Williams clinic that he does with high school basketball. I got some things coming up with them in April. So we'll just see. It's just every day is a different story. It came up over when I was doing CIAA. So I just wrapped up the CIAA basketball tournament, which was awesome. We had a good time there. And then the Final Four. I've been in talks about the Final Four. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make that, but it's just a lot. Every time I turn around, sports just is nonstop.
That's what it is, right?
It is. That's what it is.
That's the life of a journalist, broadcaster, analyst. It's the life, right? Sports is nonstop. You mentioned WNBA. Is it a foregone conclusion? Are we on a collision course for Aces and Liberty? Is it a foregone conclusion?
It seems like it.
They went and got everybody, didn't they? They went and got everybody.
I was like, whoa, okay. In WNBA free agency.
Right.
Yeah.
So last but not least, you talked earlier about everything you're doing. You talked about your brand. You talked about the different businesses and organizations that you're affiliated with. So last but not least, I will give you the opportunity to quote unquote plug yourself. Tell the people where they can find you, social media tags, the whole nine. They want to see Candi Waller. Where can they find you?
You all can find me. So you all can see at CWall SE on Twitter. But I will be honest with you all. A good large majority of the content, if you are not local to the Washington metropolitan area, you can find it on CWall Sports and Entertainment on Facebook and at CWall Sports on Instagram. If you're not in the area, if you're in the area of the Washington metropolitan, DC, PG County area, every single day on Bowie Television from 1:30 to 2:30, you can catch my content. The Commanders update, weekly DMV sports highlights. If you have Verizon Fios, it's channel 11. On Comcast Xfinity, it's channel 77. Literally every single day from 1:30 to 2:30. Online, Sports Illustrated Fan Nation, Inside the Wizards. You can check out my writing there as well as the writing of my staff. I'm the publisher for that site. So that's where all the NBA content goes. You all literally, there's not a place where you can literally not find my content. Also the website www.CWallSE.com, and you can join the email list there as well. So you all can always find me, and I would love for you all to find me and follow me. And if you see me out somewhere, definitely introduce yourself. I love meeting people in person.
And that is her personality. What you see on this camera is exactly what she is in real life. Candi, I appreciate you so much for joining me. This was amazing. I can't wait to put this out. And thank you.
Oh,
until next time.
Thank you for having me. I know you stopped me at Radio Row and we were supposed to talk. I don't know where. I said, okay. And then I never came back. I'm sorry about that. So thank you for having me on after our week, in Super Bowl coverage in Phoenix. I really do appreciate you.
Not a problem at all. Well, sports fans, that was Candi Waller. It's your boy Ray Lynn, the Sports Reporter Without Pay. Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Breaking Barriers, Women in Sports. We're going to catch y'all on the next one.
Girl, you've got it. Act like you know it. Girl, you've got it. And you might as well show it. Say, girl, you've got it. Act like you know it. Girl, you've got it. And you might as well show it. Girl, you've got it. Act like you know it. Girl, you've got it. And you might as well